Good evening, everyone. I'm Laura Ingraham. This is Ingram Angle from Washington tonight. Thank you, as always, for spending time with us. Democrats, victims, and villains. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Now, if Democrats are wondering why they can't seem to fix their brand, they might want to consider whom they treat as villains and victims. Now, most Americans believe that criminals should be prosecuted, and most Americans want illegals deported. They don't have sympathy for visa overstayers. Everyone knows the rules. And they don't think anti-American radicals should be given student or work visas at all. But not Democrats. Pro-Palestinian agitators are passionate advocates. And illegal aliens? They're just innocent victims of a corrupt immigration enforcement system. Case in point, liberal Congressman Dan Goldman, one of the worst. He prefers more illegals in the United States and fewer arrests of illegals. And he's upset about the ICE way of dressing.
I asked them, I said to them, what is the point here? Are you just trying to tally more arrests? I didn't get any real response. And then I said to them, why are you wearing masks? I was a federal prosecutor for 10 years. I worked with ICE agents. I worked with law enforcement agents. I never saw any of them wear masks. This is brand new. And the question is, if everything is legitimate and proper, why are you wearing masks to hide your face?
Wait a second. Suddenly, Mr. COVID is against masks? Wait, was he against them when they were ripping down the statues of the Summer of Love? This is very interesting. I remember this tweet. Quote, the fact that there is even such a thing as anti-mask in America is an indictment of the president and humiliating around the world. Now, first off, did he ever think that the reason that some of these ICE agents might choose to wear masks or cover their faces is directly related to the inflammatory rhetoric his party uses, including himself, to describe them?
This is Gestapo-like behavior, where plainclothes officers wearing masks are terrorizing immigrants.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets. They're in unmarked vans wearing masks, being shipped off to foreign torture dungeons. No chance to mount a defense.
Torture dungeon was watching your vice presidential debate. I think he said gazpacho. Anyway, these ICE officers are being threatened on a daily basis because of these type of vicious verbal attacks. And Democrats, when you listen to them, they're practically begging for these agents to get grief or to be assaulted. ICE officers in San Diego last week were carrying out a raid and were branded as terrorists by another Democratic councilman there, Sean Elo Rivera. Again, for Democrats, the illegals are the innocent victims. ICE are the criminals. Now, this guy's comments to local media were just as bad. He told the Los Angeles Times, quote, I've seen firsthand the pain and trauma caused when our neighbors are targeted by aggressive military-style federal enforcement when ICE agents stormed Buona Forchetta with military-style weapons. That wasn't safety. It was an attempt to terrorize San Diegans into compliance. No, it was an attempt to enforce immigration law and keep ICE agents safe. What an open border zealot he is. Now, of course, the media are a major part of the problem as well. Look at this misleading LA Times headline. ICE agents with assault rifles toss flashbangs into trendy San Diego neighborhood. Community fights back. Now, notice how those attempting to obstruct federal law enforcement are righteously fighting back in the headline. They're the heroes, of course, which only encourages more of this. And of course, ICE had to use non-lethal flashbangs, but only to disperse the crowd forming around the agents so that they could actually do their jobs and exit the scene safely. I guess Democrats don't care about that. No, they want to keep it as unsafe as possible. They wonder why people are turning against this party. So Democrats, they are on a crusade, but it's not to keep Americans safe from criminals, but to keep illegals safe from ICE. Now, we saw this dynamic at play outside that New Jersey ICE facility last month. And there was similar pro-illegal performance theater in Worcester, Mass. Last month as well. That was when ICE showed up to arrest a criminal alien accused of assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, allegedly against her pregnant 16-year-old daughter. Democrat City Councilor Eitel Hajiaj went ballistic and stepped in to help the illegal resist ICE.
Take her! Take her!
Stop right there. Stop.
This is my constituent. No, you do not touch me. Do not touch me.
I need you to go over there.
I need you to
You're
not touch
obstructing
me.
a federal arrest.
Do not touch me.
Come on. Let's go. Come on.
Please don't touch me. No,
You're
no,
obstructing a federal arrest right now. Do you understand that?
Let's go.
You can be charged.
The people who are under arrest are under arrest,
She's
okay?
not. She hasn't done anything.
She's under arrest.
Please let her go. Let her go. She hasn't done anything. She's traumatized.
Okay, if she hadn't been put in jail, right, she should have been put in jail. There have to be consequences to this. But this is the modern day Democrat Party. By repeatedly painting law enforcement as evil, they're playing with fire. They were playing with fire in 2020, and they're playing with fire now. Also in San Diego, by the way, when ICE arrested an illegal last Friday, this bystander videoed the operation, and we hear his own warped perspective during this. Watch.
My man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry Trump's an I'm sorry they voted for this. When people start fighting back, then what y'all gonna do? Y'all gonna shoot every American? When we start fighting back, what y'all gonna do? Y'all gonna shoot Americans then? Because that's what we gonna start doing. We're gonna start fighting back. God shame, all y'all should put a bullet in your heads. Doing Trump's work, every single one of y'all put a bullet in your head. Yeah, I said it, what?
Wow. The story does not end there, though, because as bad as all that is, imagine being so engulfed by anti-Trump hate that you can't admit the true evil among us. Those who seek to kill innocent Americans like Egyptian national Mohammed Solomon. Remember, he was on that expired tourist visa. The man should never have been allowed to remain in the United States, but somehow he did. But because Democrats elevate the plight of foreigners over everyday Americans, Democrats will always find a reason to criticize Trump instead of standing against the real villains here.
Of course we need answers. We need answers about the visa overstay, and a visa overstay has nothing to do with the border. You know, I believe in border security. We need border security, but in this incident, it doesn't look like that is what is at play here at all. President Trump has been president for nearly 6 months now, and I want to know why an attack that had been planned for the entirety of that time was missed.
Congressman should eat crow. Doesn't even merit a response, but I'll give him one anyway. I'll spell it out because he apparently can't understand the obvious. Border enforcement, sir, is immigration enforcement. And immigration enforcement requires that all the laws be enforced at the border and in the interior of the United States when foreigners without citizenship or any other right to be here decide to flout our rules, the laws that you all pass in Congress. What a dope. Was that somehow too hard for Congressman Crow to understand? And look at this headline from The Guardian. Trump administration uses Colorado's suspect status to push deportation agenda. Okay, so they're quibbling with semantics instead of acknowledging the obvious problem of having several 100,000 people here, foreigners, on expired visas. Remember, there were other people who exploited our visa system 24 years ago. They were the 9/11 hijackers, committed the worst terror attack on America ever. But again, facts don't matter. The media and the Democrats have their villain, and it's Donald Trump and those who carry out his agenda, and they have their victims, and they're foreigners who commit crimes, those who abuse our generous immigration policies. So take that simple framing to the voters in 2026, and let's see what America they vote for. And that's The Angle.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.